And so here's another example of a problem that involves simplifying a rational expression, but we have a complex fraction. So we've got to think of these again as just a division problem. We have the quantity 4 plus 6 over n minus 1 being divided by the quantity 7 minus 4 over n minus 1. And what I basically need to do is within each quantity, I need to find common denominators. So let's start with this first quantity. This is over 1. So our least common denominator is clearly n minus 1. Well, I already have that in my second fraction, but I need to multiply the top and bottom of my first fraction by n minus 1. And like before, I need to distribute that 4 to each of the parts of that n minus 1. So 4 times n is 4n. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. There's the numerator of my first fraction. And then the numerator of my second fraction, which is already over the n minus 1, so I need not do anything to it, is 6. Now clearly I can see that negative 4 and 6 can be combined, and what I'll have is positive 2. So I'll have 4n plus 2 all over n minus 1. If I use the same thinking here in my second quantity, the 7 is over 1. Clearly, my common denominator again is n minus 1. So I'm going to need to multiply the top and bottom of my first fraction by n minus 1 to get n minus 1 in its denominator. And once again, distribute. 7 times n is 7n. 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. And then, of course, I have to subtract the numerator of my second fraction, which is already over my common denominator. And once again, these constants can be combined. They're equivalent to negative 11. So now we have one fraction being divided by another fraction. And so we know that that is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of the second fraction. And now that it's multiplication, let's make sure everything is factored as far as it can be factored. Well, everything except that first numerator is factored. That first numerator, both 4n and 2, are divisible by 2. So if I factor out a 2, 4n divided by 2 is 2n, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So what do we have in common? Well, we can n minus 1 over n minus 1 cancels. And then what we have left then in the numerator would just be our 2 times the 2n plus 1 over our 7n minus 11. Nothing more that they have in common. Now, I can leave my answer in that form. That is perfectly acceptable. Or I can redistribute that 2, since after factoring it, it didn't allow me to cancel anything. So I could also identify that this is an acceptable answer. But no more canceling can be done because there's addition and subtraction within the numerator and denominator. You can only cancel when everything is being multiplied.